It's chump change this time.
Small one. Yes, I'll move to approve the payment of the bills.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, and need a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 21st, 2024. Anybody have any changes?
Mr. Chair, I have a slight change I would like on page 6 under open time. It's it says 6, but then it says page 9 of 171 on mine, so
Yep.
I'm not sure everybody's on the same page. It has to do with the resident Ron Hoffman. His comment, he said, any use to hold the trash and recycling. But I think that meant suspend the service
Spend.
versus holding. I don't think he meant to hold all the trash.
Yeah. You got that, Megan? Aren't you glad you're here?
That was the only change I saw. So,
Thanks, Steve.
if that's okay, I'll move to approve.
I would second with that change.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, moving on, we have 9 consent agenda items. I'm looking for a motion, I believe staff, or the board wants to pull one of them.
I would move to approve the consent agenda, but can we pull item 5D off, the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office contract for services and for discussion under
New business?
new business, I guess.
New business,
Sure.
Jen?
I don't think that'd be a good place to put it.
Okay,
We haven't talked about it at the meeting yet.
you're right.
All right, is that a motion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, under old business, we have 6A, Ground Castle additional consent letter. You gonna do that, Patrick?
Yep, basically, this is carryover from the last meeting where we've got TKDA, our engineers, giving more input in on this. Just giving consent on leasing extra tower space.
I believe they found that the tower will support
Yep.
the additional,
Yep.
which is what we wanted to do.
That's exactly.
All right, that was just a matter of having our engineers double check their engineers
Yes.
to make sure that.
Government redundancy on the night of election, or pre-night.
All right, board have any questions?
No.
All right, looking for a motion to approval?
I'll move to approve the, is it Newcastle? What is it called? I already moved on.
Crown Castle.
Crown Castle.
Did she say
Tower.
Newcastle?
Well,
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm having some computer issues tonight, just so you know that.
All right, motion's made, second.
I will second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, old business 6B is the surplus property for 2569 Stackert Boulevard.
Yes, Mr. Chair, staff at Public Works as well as legal staff have reviewed disclosures and the proposed contract with Coldwell Banker, who came to us, I got a recommendation from Sam Pear about this person handling this. And this is just to approve that contract and put it, or that property out on the market. We've had a lot of discussion on this, so.
Buildable lot, the Manor Park neighborhood.
Yep.
Had an appraisal done on it, and we're listing it for the appraised price.
Initially.
When will it go up on the market after we approve tonight?
Yep. I'll give the go-ahead tomorrow.
Did we have the detail, and I should have looked at that contract closer relative to utility hookup fees spelled out in there?
Oh,
Whose
no,
responsibility?
we did not.
That's a big one. We visit that and make sure that it's well detailed.
You want me to add that?
If there's one required, it's
Okay.
vacant lot, so there might be.
Well, may I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
The documents that you're approving tonight are simply the listing contract and the disclosure statement.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a bad idea, you might as well.
Get it all
as
out.
As a term of the listing contract, to make it clear that, the issue you just
Responsibility
raised.
is-
Yes.
Yeah, just
responsibility.
addressing responsibility of park dedication fee, utility hookup, sack and whack.
Yeah, I mean, normally that would be part of the purchase agreement, but it's a very good, you raise a good point. You might as well tell them up front what's going to happen, so it avoids having a contract that you have to turn down.
Okay, so do you want to approve this subsequent to adding those? So sack and whack, utility hookups, and park fee.
Reference to those, yes.
Okay.
Would that have been an assessment fee, not to the township when that was done for the sewer and water or not?
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be any assessment fees to the new buyer.
Well, the question is, was the assessment paid by the town at the time? Is there record of that? If that's the case, then there would be no utility hookup fee required. So you got to do a little research.
Yep,
on
sounds
where
like
that's at. But it's a big fee, and
Oh, yeah.
in the past I've run into that where somebody will say, "Hey, what's this for?"
Yeah.
So as long as we disclose it, we're fine.
Sure.
Yeah, it's wise to tell them up front.
That's it.
It's a good idea, Tom.
All right, Steve,
I have
anything?
nothing else, no.
Okay.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I would move to approve the sale of the surplus property and listing through Caldwell Banker.
Have a second?
I will with his amendment that he asked to have added to the agreement. I'll second that.
All right, motion's made and seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Item 6C is the North Oaks Joint Powers Agreement.
Chad.
Mr. Chair, what I prepared, the joint powers agreement that you have in front of you is basically, I simply took the MOU, the memorandum of understanding we had approved earlier, and simply converted it to a JPA. Because the memorandum of understanding by itself is not a joint powers agreement. We have to actually adopt a new joint powers agreement. Given the fact that the present one expires in approximately 2 months, we need to do one right now. I will tell you that this has not gone to North Oaks yet. I've talked to their attorney and told her we would not send it, I would not forward it to her until such time as the board approved this one.
All right, Patrick, you want to give just a quick history on this, why we're doing this?
Well, just overall for the JPA with the city of North Oaks, it's going to be handing over the maintenance and upgrading of their infrastructure in terms of water. It's supposed to, per the JPA, begin January 1, 2025.
Correct.
We are working through maintenance now, finally. We have had some follow-up as to how they're going to be providing that, but we did this for a couple of reasons. The easiest, most obvious one is to relieve our staff from tending to what has become a sizable requirement for maintenance, but also to relieve some pressure off of water use that is being scrutinized more so than ever, especially with us.
And a couple of points I did add that weren't in the MOU was a language regarding the fact that that North Oaks has to adopt ordinances which comply with our settlement of the White Bear Lake lawsuit.
That's specifically item C, right?
It is item, yes,
2C?
I believe so, yes.
It is.
Okay.
That also have something to do with the enforcement of sprinkling?
Yes.
They
In
have-
fact, go ahead. I'm
They
sorry.
They have to adopt our requirements along those lines.
Because we're supplying them water, they have to go by our sprinkling regulations.
But
they are
they
also-
have to enforce it.
They also are going to be provided any and all opportunities for conservation that we've arranged through various state agencies over the last 10 years. So
Now, there's language that I created that you may I want to make sure you're aware of. It's part of 3C. It's the last sentence, basically, and it says, the town reserves the right to adjust the water flow at each of the large capacity water meters to bring the city into compliance with the terms of the settlement agreement. The point being is, if you're using too much water, we're going to shut you down or restrict your flow. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I want to point that out. That's language I added.
staff agrees.
Well, only because we're pretty regimented on metering our water usage, and we don't want them to get out of hand and just take our numbers and run them up either.
Agreed.
So that's really under 2C,
Make sure.
City
Did I say 3C?
obligations?
Right, 2C, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Page 3.
All right. I agree with that.
To that point, I'm sure there'll be some discussion.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we are required to give them 30 days notice before you do anything.
we've been having meetings for, what, 2 years now, Patrick?
2 years.
A group of us in the city of North Oaks trying to work this out. And the deadline's coming, and I'm head in the sand a little bit, but
Dragging feet.
And the problem is the city's put the town in a bad position because theoretically, you cut them off as of January 2nd, 2025. I don't think you plan on doing that, but nonetheless, without a contract and without an agreement in place, what are the terms? Because the old one's officially terminated.
We can extend for a while, but it's not going to be
We did
forever.
give them, wasn't there, what was the 2-year notice piece that
We gave them
we
that.
gave them that?
Yes.
So that's this whole 2-year process. So technically, the contract is null and void at
void.
the end.
Yes, because you terminated it.
And that was approved.
Yes.
all right, does the board see any other issues or changes that they want to add?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, one other thing. If you notice on page 1, section I did not fill in the town will sell the city water at a rate equal to, and left it blank there.
Yeah.
Does the board have any idea what you want to charge them? Isn't Shoreview charging them 125%?
125%.
And I thought that we were going to base this model on the same as theirs.
We were, but I didn't want to fill that in without the board's approval.
I don't want to see them, any arguments or discrepancies between us and Shoreview, so.
I think 125 is a wise number.
So should I fill in 125% then?
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
We need to have to vote on that, or?
Well,
Yes.
part of our motion to amend that part of the JPA.
Will actually be the motion to adopt a new JPA.
Okay,
With that number.
Correct.
And
This is simply about the town provides water to some North Oaks residents. We have been providing maintenance in the city of North Oaks in the past, and that will stop now.
And
our
billing,
maintenance- Yeah, and our maintenance will stop at the border.
Right.
Okay, that's
Well, one thing is
simple change.
the large water meters, while they build them, we maintain them.
there's one on each side of Centerville, isn't there? The meter?
I know, actually, my understanding from talking to Dale is that there'll be a meter at each spot where the pipes cross Centerville into North Oaks, there'll be a meter placed.
But is it on our side?
Their side. The pits I'll be on the North Oaks side,
At their expense.
at their expense. They build them, we maintain them.
And that has not occurred yet.
No, it has not.
Is that an
that's-
issue with the SCADA to read them? Or don't they?
Well, all I can tell you is that talking to Dale, that he's satisfied that these large meter pits will work just fine.
Well, in a way that makes sense because then they're working on their side of the road and not tearing up our side of the road.
Yes.
true.
So
One way to look at it. Very parochial, Ed.
is that clearly spelled out in this agreement?
Yes, it is. It is,
Under maintenance and city obligations?
yes, it is. 2B, city shall be responsible for maintenance of the water mains and appurtenances lying within the boundaries of the city except for the large capacity water meters installed in the meter valve pits.
Did we have to put a number in there of how many? It seems to me it was like,
Well, actually, that's the map. If you notice in
okay.
paragraph 1, there's two maps. Map 1 is the boundaries of the area being served, and map 2 is location of the pits, basically.
gotcha.
Okay, so my question to you has to do with those pits. It says, "The city shall be responsible for maintenance of the water mains and appurtenances lying within the boundaries of the city, except for the capacity water meter installed."
Right.
Is that an implication that now lays with the township? I know it's under city obligations.
Actually, yeah, that language is under town obligations.
It is?
Yes, it should be.
I just read it out of B, maintenance, but
Yeah, but B, that's the city's obligations. The town's obligations are,
right at the last paragraph. The town shall maintain a large capacity water meter installed in the meter valve pit as described in Exhibit A, which shows up on the town, city property. However, that thing under the maintenance, under the city, is that ambiguous that we're gonna maintain it? Or are we maintaining it on the city property?
Hang on,
Now's the time to,
Maybe it shouldn't even be there.
well, no, I would recommend that you have it there just in case someone ever asks the question in the future.
No. I mean, it's in two different sections, but it's referenced differently in the city's obligations.
Well, I'll work on that.
okay. Just so it's clear, we have no intention of maintaining
Right,
the pits or meters on North Oaks property
right,
from henceforth.
exactly.
Okay.
Well, so maybe we should withdraw approval of this till the next meeting. And I'll work on that language.
Okay.
125, and we'll have a full
Yeah,
contract.
it's not a bad idea.
So you want a motion to table
I
this?
think we should.
I would suggest that.
Yep.
There's time, obviously, so you have to.
Well,
Well,
the
we're
time is
running
not
out of
on, time is on our side, not theirs.
So you'll have it ready for the next meeting?
Oh, yes, so we're clear. The issue is the maintenance of the pits, and we're at 125% and that in terms of rate structure.
So I'll move to table this till the November 18th meeting?
I'll second.
All right, motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Okay, item 7 is public hearings. We have none. Item 8, under new business, we're going to go back to the consent agenda, item D, the sheriff's contract. Let's see if I can find it.
Mr. Chair, I did review the contract, and Pat and I have been talking about this. It is, in my mind, not the perfect contract, but given the amount of time that's been spent on this, it is basically the best contract, or not, I wouldn't say the best. These are the final terms that the county is going to offer.
It's the least offensive. How about that?
Yeah.
It has not only has it been scrutinized by Chad's office and staff, but it has gone back and forth amongst the 5 other city administrators for editing. And there's been a lot of give and take over the last few months on this.
As a point of reference, there has never been a contract prior to this, correct?
Right?
This is cleaning up loose ends for somebody.
A couple points something I'd point out is 4.2, actually, section 4 is the defense and indemnification. I would, the one concern obviously is officer misconduct and who's responsible for that. And as I read 4.2 is that's the responsibility of the county, because it says intentional misconduct or negligent acts or omissions of the county. Well, the county employees are the county, so I read it that's a responsibility of the county, and they indemnified the township.
Well, have we had any discussion with our own insurance on this so that it's fully understood that we wouldn't be brought, you have an indemnification, obviously, but so we're not brought back in on an excess basis, that we have other insurance that might apply to this?
I'll be honest with you, Steve, I assumed that since everybody was indemnified on this, we didn't need to pursue that. But, I mean, if you feel
Well,
it's-
I just don't want to assume anything that we're left, without any insurance coverage if there's a question mark.
see what you're
Protect, just to make sure that they have a clear understanding of what we're agreeing to, and that our insurance would indemnify, basically step in on our behalf if we are sued. They can name anybody in a lawsuit. I just want to make sure that we have insurance coverage that we're not leaving ourselves alone.
Now, I'm assuming, and I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm assuming that our city partners in this have had this contract scrutinized by the insurance trust with the league.
Would hope so.
Yeah.
Well, I have
but-
spoken with Joseph Kelly about this.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
He's comfortable?
Well, he sees the same problems I see.
Okay.
And one of the big issues that I think Patrick saw, I saw, and Joe saw was the issue of self-insurance by the county. That was something that concerns me.
Although, as it exists today, if this contract was signed and enforced tomorrow, what is their insurance program? Are they self-insured, or do they have a carrier?
Initially, they're not self-insured, but they're looking at doing it.
Yes.
That's my understanding. So it's,
accurate.
yeah, it's an issue that presently not an issue, but it can be in the future because they reserve the right.
Yeah, and it's not something that's going to be surprising anybody. We've talked it through for a couple of years now.
Yes.
Our group is shrinking, and there are changes that are coming.
Yeah, if it changes to a self-insured program, that's all funded by the city of St. Paul or Ramsey County taxpayers, including everybody sitting in this room that lives in Ramsey County. But that doesn't necessarily save the township. So I just want to make sure we got our insurance piece. We're comfortable that we have insurance behind us.
Should we send that to the league for?
I think we should, but my main concern is the fact that the county reserves the right at the end of the year to total its actual costs and then send a bill out for everything over and above the estimate. And I would not put it past the county to include self-insurance costs that, as part of this final billing.
Yeah. That's really onerous.
Yes.
We're on budgeted items since we create our budget based on what we know, not what we don't know.
We also have carryover funds, though, too,
Yeah.
that help. And we've gotten that for a couple years now.
Yeah. It'd be much, I think, I'm not going to talk for the cities, but I think everyone would be much more comfortable if they just had their annual premium and didn't self-insure.
Totally.
That would avoid the problem.
It would.
But we recommended that, was the first problems we raised, and they haven't changed their
Have
position.
not changed that. So I think there was some other give and take that kept that in place.
Did the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners have input on this contract?
I don't think so.
Then why are they signing off on it?
I'm sure it was reviewed by legal staff on their behalf.
Well, the people that are going to sign off on this, at least two of the Ramsey County Commissioners will be brand new.
Oh, that's right.
They're being voted on tomorrow.
That's right.
So, and I only know the two around here. I don't know how many more are up to it, but well,
Anyways, Chad said at the start, this is our best that we can do for now.
And there's one other point I want to make too. It's under 6.1 costs and payments. It's 6.1 is costs, and they have this term capital. It's the last word in the in 6.1. They don't define capital. What do they mean? Because if you notice
They don't want to tell us what they mean.
if you know it, they have equipment. The word equipment appears before that, so therefore it can't mean car. It can't mean patrol vehicles.
Is that a
and,
new sheriff's building?
well, that's one thought.
It's capital.
That seems to be
a very-
current.
New substation.
Yeah, it's a very nebulous term. But again, this is something that's been brought up before. It's not new. I just want to point that out, that it's not, that's why I say it's not a perfect contract by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, to Ed's point, the commissioners, I assume, it's wrong to assume, but this had to be a discussion item before it got to this point with the commissioners, because I suspect they're the ones that were pushing to get a contract in place for the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Because it is a huge expense.
It is.
But I'd like to have some definitions, but I don't think it's wrong to ask, but
But if this thing has been dragged down the road, I don't think we're going to get any
no.
other
Looking to
commitments.
close it out. But those are good points to bring up for the next one.
All right, we have it on the record, don't we, Megan?
We do.
All right.
All right. Tom, you got anything else?
I don't know that this is similar to previous contracts?
This is the first contract.
You're right, first
Contract.
ever this year, not an extension of, okay, interesting.
Prior to this, they simply they gave the town a estimate of what the costs were, and that's what you budgeted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you did say that. No,
Anything else?
I've said enough.
nice to have a contract.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not so sure.
That makes it so much easier to support then.
Well, maybe the future is some better definitions of the terms, because that's up to the eyes of the beholder as to what all this means, and that means lawsuits.
Right, and my last comment was not meant tongue-in-cheek. The old system of just having you give an invoice by the county annually was a lot more manageable for the township than this is.
But there's been, over the years, some surprises in
Yes,
the cost.
that's true. But on the other hand, if they're not going to provide services unless you sign a contract, so.
That's right.
You're,
We're kind of in the corner on
yes,
this
you are.
All right. If there's no other discussion, I need a motion to approve the agreement for contract law enforcement and public safety services with Ramsey County Sheriff's Department.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that ends our regular agenda. We're going to have closed session, but we will take open time first, if anyone would like to come up to the mic. Because when we go into closed session, I'm afraid we'll have to empty the room.
Good evening. My name's Steve Backus. I live at 1104 Pine Hill. And my backyard, my back window looks over the, I don't even know what it's called, the Centerville Light Industrial Park Project of White Bear Township.
Yes.
What's the actual name now, Patrick? 35 Park?
35 Park. Yep.
Pretty catchy.
And I don't know right now if I should ask you to tell me, or there's, we just watch from our backyard and watch dirt being moved. And I don't know if you know, but I think most of the dirt, at least it's level. They have a couple of retaining walls up. My house looks at the one on the north side. They're missing a few bricks, I think, or blocks. I think they're waiting for a shipment. And then I think I'm looking and seeing some infrastructure pieces. There's some pipes and stuff that they're staging. And they were lucky, I think, that it didn't rain all during the time. I've kind of peeked out there. Okay, I walked out there. And it's pretty, a lot of clay out there. So you get a half-inch of rain, and the next day it doesn't sink in. But my concern is that, and I think I speak for a lot of my neighbors, is we don't know, I don't know who's going to fight for us to get what little bit we might be asking for. I know at one time there was some discussion with the previous developer about a path going in there, and I don't know if formally we, the city, the township, wrote that off and said no path. I talked to the Mark at North Oaks, and he said that was up to the city. Now, I guess my main concern is right now is that looking out at a blank slate right now, I'm picturing what we're in for. And my guess is that they'll be building these buildings, I'm going to guess 5 years, for the next 5 years. So I don't, they have to put in the utilities and the sewer and those sort of thing. And that's going to take some time. And I don't know, I guess at one time I was at a meeting and they talked about they're just going to put in one big building. And I can see that, and I kind of like that, but do you just put in one building and then do the rest of the infrastructure piecemeal, or do you pour all the cement, and there's going to be a lot of cement there.
Steve, right now, we don't have a plan. They have not come to us with a plan. All they did was the grading and the retaining walls to make it all level so they can work out a plan. As of right now, we do not have barely a concept plan, much less a building plan.
Yeah, and
So we're a little bit in the dark on this too.
I understand that, and that's why I'm sort of confused or unaware of,
Well, this has been a different process than we've seen in the past there, where the developer and the seller have worked with the township right up front. But this process, North Oaks Company chose to make it more marketable, is I think what we were told, by leveling that land. Although I think we all have an idea that there is a developer, i.e. purchaser behind it, but they haven't come to the Planning Commission or any other plans. And who's going to fight for you really is, it has to do with the Planning Commission looking at the plans, making recommendations, whether it's for landscaping or whatever, but the damage for the trees in the past time have already taken place. They're gone
yeah,
for the
and
most part. And that,
I'm not real familiar with I think it's City Ordinance 35. Is that the all-inclusive? And I'm just kind of breezed through that. And I found a couple things that were concerning, and that perhaps on a slower moving project that we might have been able to show them that there's provisions there to preserve some of the landscaping. But as they say, that's water over the bridge, the horse is out of that barn.
Well, normally our ordinance specifies commercial projects as, especially landscaping. It says, I don't know, Tom, you probably know this better than me, so many overstory trees, so many shrubs, so many blah, blah, blah. Now, when it goes to the Planning Commission, they're going to be more sensitive because of what was taken down to get better screening on the north side of their property.
Yeah.
And that's always been the discussion that we want to make. We try to buffer this thing as best we can. There'll be talk about downlighting. There'll be talk about above rooftop mechanical. All that stuff will be discussed when they actually come to us with what they think they want to do.
Yeah, and I know this thing is moving fast, and
They might come to a screeching halt here.
yes,
and like you said, they're doing this a little bit different than normal. And my wife and I were talking. We go, we gotta make our voice heard. That before they start pouring gutters and paving streets, that they leave a little bit extra room to plant some significant trees on that north side.
The board was not pleased with the way they approached this, but they had the legal right to do it. It's their property. It's their trees. They have the right to, and as long as they applied for the grading permit and the retaining walls, they still had that right. But now, from now on, they're going to have to come to us with anything they propose. So now we're able to be a little bit more scrutinizing on what they do.
Yeah, and so let it be heard that,
Well, trust me, there'll be plenty of neighborhood meetings when this starts because
Yeah, that'll be the first step.
right, there'll be open meetings with the Planning Commission, and so public meetings will come to us. So it's not gonna. You guys will always be in the loop.
yeah. And so, just so I can say, we want plenty of trees, several rows of trees, and maybe we'll get one row of trees on that north side, some mature trees, so that maybe in 10 years they might be blocking half of the
Well,
structures.
and sometimes too, it's possible they could do some berming. I don't know how the plan's like that, but if they can berm it, then the trees don't have to be as big because they get them up off the ground a little bit. That's all up for discussion.
Yeah, and from what I've seen of the grading and the idea that they want to make the most of every square foot,
That's typical builders.
and I would love berms, but I'm willing to agree or be satisfied with just some mature trees.
They still have to meet the green space, so no matter what they do, they have to keep so much green and open space. So
And that path, do we know if that's still?
Again, we don't
It's
know.
wide open. There's been no discussion on that. Once upon a time, we saw a concept plan with a path back in the plans. But it's nothing formal more than someone's concept of what they were going to do. So nothing has been to the planning commission or the board, so.
Okay, very good, thank you.
We're receiving your information and your neighbors' emails on things, so yeah, we'll represent the residents.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, White Bear Press?
Yeah, Logan Guion, 12599 Europa Avenue North. White Bear Lake, but Hugo, really. So I'm actually not here for myself tonight. My managing editor, my direct report boss, Shannon Granholm, recently became the lead reporter for White Bear Lake proper. So there's just some shifting around of resources at White Bear Press. And the first thing she asked me on her first day this morning was, what's going on with the White Bear fire situation? And I was like, closed session. And then I did not know we were doing another closed session tonight. So I may not get much here, but she has requested that I request if you guys could just give me a brief summary of where everything's at the
I am not going to step in it. I'm going to turn it over to our attorney.
I figured you were going to get it. I'm sorry.
Considering the distinct possibility of litigation, actually, it's more than distinct. Really, there's no comment we can make at this time, other than to say that the city and the township, as well as the other surrounding communities that are part of that contract, which would be Gem Lake, Birchwood, and Delwood, are talking.
Okay. Rewinding a step, I just want to fact check, make sure I've got this right as well. This dispute originally arose because of interest on the public safety building. Is that correct?
I would just call it contract dispute.
Just call it contract dispute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it in.
There we go.
Well, because it gets confusing when you start getting into the nuances of this whole thing, so.
Yeah. I figured. Well, thank you for giving me what you can. And that's about what I expected, and I told her as much this morning. So she said ask anyway.
Right.
Also, nice flag. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Logan.
Ask and you shall receive, Logan.
Thank you.
Ralph, got anything tonight? We have a couple of students.
We do.
You want to come up and get on
wanna talk?
camera? And
Cowards.
Or smart. I mean,
yeah, I agree with you. All right, that ends open time then. What we're going to do is, if the students want to come up, we'll sign whatever you've got for paperwork, but then we'll have to have the room vacated for a closed session with our attorney.
Take one.
You're lucky you got a short meeting.
Take him.
Thank you.
She's like in love with it.
imagine.
We've seen a couple of these things.
They'll come.
We told that you were expecting people to start coming.
You're not Donald Trump.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
I thought you'd Kamala Harris tonight.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Megan, you have to keep notes of this, by the way.
I know.
All right, I need a motion.
Oh, Megan's still here.
She's gonna leave.
I used to be able to stay. Do you want to do the motion first and then I'll...
Yeah, that's a good point.
I need a motion to go into closed session with legal considering the White Bear Lake Fire Department
I'll make that
contract.
motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion to come out of closed session for the fire contract.
I'll make a
discussion.
motion to come out of closed session on the fire contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Chad, would you like to give us a,
Yes, the board discussed making a settlement offer, well, the board discussed making an offer to this, well, Megan, just hang on.
continuing negotiations?
Yes, exactly, that the town board approved to continue negotiate with the city to resolve the outstanding litigation.
Or contract disputes.
Dispute, yes, which is at the heart of the litigation.
Got it, Megan?
Close as I'm gonna come.
All right, I need a motion to see material flip on.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I need a motion to adjourn at 8:07.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Meg.